record. Here we go. And hi, everybody. Everybody can see everybody, right? I'm going to put it on spotlight video for a second here for the recording purposes. So excited for the call tonight. As you all heard, we have a little change up. And you know what? As Carrie Davis always says, now we're going to punt. So at 3:30 in this afternoon, I put the message out, we don't have a speaker for tonight. And how can we disappoint our entire teams? What can we do that's going to be worth their while? And Melissa jumped right in and basically saved the day. And it's so funny because there's a lot that Melissa and I actually do think similar on. And this happened to be something that there were more synchronicities than one, right, Melissa?
Yeah.
So she immediately answered and she said, and it was so funny because she only got half of her thought out and then her phone stopped, right? And I completed her sentence. I mean, just what she was talking about. And so for those of you who don't know me, this is Nikki Cotton. I'm a 100 Club National Marketing Director. My husband and I have been with the company for 26 plus years. And especially at this time and this season, there's so much for us to be grateful for. I mean, really, I open my door and I see all this food in my cabinet and I see all the food in my refrigerator. And I know my kids are healthy and I know my kids are happy. And, you know, it's just the abundance on so many levels that we are able to feel, sense, know in this country, and particularly in our business. That we have the abundance and the availability of impacting thousands of lives, and what could be better than that, especially at this time of season. And like I said on our last call, we are the ultimate gift givers, right? That's all we ever do. So in any case, what Melissa said to me, she said, you know, she'd heard about this woman who comes up and she does this theme, a word theme for the year. And then she started to say a few more things and the phone went out. And I immediately answered her back, I know what you're talking about. I heard about that several years ago. And every year I pick an actual theme, one word, for myself. And I try to apply that the best I can throughout the year through all the different areas in my life. There's Chris. He's a really good one that applies a lot of this to his life. My theme last year, my word theme last year was joy. And where I try to apply it is I like to apply it to my personal life, my relationships. I like to apply it to my exercise. Boy, that's been a tough one, you guys. I get on the treadmill and I go to my personal trainer and I look at him and I go, how are you going to torture me? Instead of saying, how can we create more joy in our time together today? But also in my spiritual life, how can I meditate and bring joy to my meditations? How can I bring joy to my affirmations? How can I bring joy to my relationships in my business and with my customers and in presenting and inviting and in prospecting? So joy can come into play in all those places in our lives. So we're going to talk about that tonight. And then we're also going to talk about a theme for our teams. What themes can we put together for our teams? So I'm going to, for a moment, and then Melissa, when we talk about our team theme, I'm going to turn this call over to you.
Okay.
But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put this back on gallery view so everybody can see everybody. And what I'd really love to hear, even if you don't have a word yet, what is the first word that comes up? Oh, that's my word. You stole it, Lisa Blaisdell. That's my word. I want that thing.
No, it's your word. And I was doing this. You didn't see me, but I told you I have this awesome sparkly sweatshirt that I wear all through the holidays that says joy.
Oh, my gosh.
I got to get you one.
That's so cool. And I have to tell you, some of my team members actually went out and bought me 3 letters. A J, an O, and a Y in wood. And they're up in my cabin. Cool. And I thought that was really great. But I'd really love to hear from some of you. Have any of you ever done that before? If so, how did it work for you? And if you've never done it, if right now here on the spot, this may not be the word you settle on for 2017, but does a word come to some of you, and where would it be important for you? So I'd like to open that up and share with our team about some ideas that you might have or words that you might use in the coming year. And I'm just going to open it up. And I'd love to hear from you, Lisa, and anybody else.
Hey there, Nikki and Chris. This is Michael out in Southern Oregon. My word for 2017 is expansion. And if I could choose two words, it would be expanding capacity.
Great. So where do you see expansion happening in your lives? Can you give me some examples?
Well, it's a combination. It's where I see my family going. It's a combination of expanding our financial resources, expanding our capacity to be able to hold a larger container for our community, for our family, and it's also expanding conscious community around us. So those are kind of the basic tools that I'm looking at, and also expanding our ability to take advantage of the space between the seconds to do the self-care piece that often has been lacking the past several years as we've been growing. So that's just off the top of my head from that's where I'm feeling.
Michael, that's a great top of your head. I love that. And by the way, if you hear a word that somebody else has, you're allowed to take it. They're not exclusive. They can be inclusive. I just want to let you know that. So
I love that people are typing them in down below. This is cool.
I know. I see that. What I thought would be really fun on your Voxer groups to tell what your word is, that maybe we can remember and support you in that. I certainly wish that I told my personal trainer that that was my word, joy, so that every time I whined, he could say, "Where's the joy? Where's the joy, Nikki? Want to see the joy?" So, somebody, Chelsea Myers, I know that you typed in. You can take yourself off mute. Would you like to say anything, Chelsea?
Well, my word is actually the word that I came up with for my little team I have growing.
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
It's the word I chose to name my team. My team is starting to grow. I've got 2 more people getting ready to join in the next month or so.
Okay.
And so that's the word for my team.
And what was the word?
Inspiration.
Inspiration. That's great. So where do you see it? How do you see using the word inspiration, say, with your children?
Since we homeschool, I try to inspire them to do a little bit more than
Okay, the step up. Just do a little bit more. That's great. And then, Michelle, I think you held your hand up. What's your word?
It's not a word. I have to think of a new word for 2017, but a word that I always use is cherish.
Oh.
And it just became apparent when we had a lot of sudden deaths in our family. So within the last 7 years, so it just stuck with me. Cherish every moment with your family, just every moment. Don't take anything for granted. And then I bit the bullet and had it tattooed on my foot too. So it's always with me.
Wow, that's the ultimate reminder. And where do you see it with prospecting? How could you put cherish into prospecting for your business?
Really just cherishing every moment that I have with customers, with my team, and using that to just keep building.
Yeah, and it's really important how you can see how this could really, reframe whatever part of the business that you're having a difficult time with. Is if your word is powerful, where it could apply. And so I saw somebody did endurance. Who was that? And you can unmute your phone. Aaron, is that you? Where are you, Aaron? You need to unmute yourself.
Working on it.
Okay, there you are. I see you. All right, great. So your word was endurance?
Yes.
Okay, so
I'm actually super pregnant right now. I'm actually due at the new year. And so just, enduring labor, delivery, that's to start. But just I'm very new to the business as well. And so just being persistent, positive, taking each challenge as it comes. I've been out of a job since July, which was unexpected for it to be that long. So this is kind of a way for me to increase my finances as well.
Okay, great. Erin, thanks. And somebody said they liked Donna's word, which is courage, and that was Marie. Is that the word, Marie, that you'd like to focus on? And you need to unmute yourself.
I think Donna needs to come on here. Although Donna's
I know, I surprised you and picked you.
I like her word because oftentimes we find ourselves afraid. A lot of us, we're afraid, we've always like, it's not about you, don't make it about you. Stop getting, get out of your head. And you have to be courageous in sharing. And that's why I like her word, because that so applies to me. I need to be more courageous.
Okay. Is there someplace specific in your business that you would like to have more courage, Marie?
I probably trying to grow my team, because I don't really have a problem getting customers.
Okay.
It's getting team. It's approaching people about the business.
Okay. So more courage in inviting. Chris, you're dying to say something.
Yeah, thank you.
Hear his breath.
Well, I want to acknowledge you, Donna and Marie, because that's a really powerful word. And the powerful thing about courage is it's not something that you have, that you carry. It's something that you find in the moment. And when you really boil down to whatever is slowing or stopping any of us, it's always fear. It always boils down to fear. So if you've got courage, I just really got excited about that, because it's knowing that you can be courageous. And the way courageous shows up is that when you feel the fear, do it anyway. That's courage. So I just acknowledge you both for that, and anybody else, and I think I might even steal it. So thank you.
Courage.
Can I just add, thank you, Chris, for that. And Marie, of course. And the reason I picked courage, I mean, it popped into my head immediately, and I didn't type it at first because I wasn't sure that I really wanted it. But for me, it was courage to quit my flippin' job and dive in head first and everything I'm doing with this.
Who's
and I've been listening to You Are a Badass. I've been listening to that every day driving to work, and I think it is my all-time favorite book.
Yes.
And my son every day gets in the car and he's like, Mom, are you listening to that book? You're a what? What is it again? Because he just wants me to say it over and over. So we've been having a lot
told you,
of fun.
Donna Lambert.
Love
I told
it.
my leaders about that book.
You know what I keep saying? That's the book. Other people want to have written the classics. If I could have written any book in the world, that's the book I would have liked to have written. Honestly, as I was reading it, and she would say something, and I'd think, "Gosh, I thought this," or "Yes, she said it better than the way that I thought it." That would be my book, and I would write it exactly the way she wrote it if I could have my druthers.
I need to get a hard copy because I'm listening to it as I drive, but I need a hard copy to highlight and just
Right.
Yeah,
done.
the whole book should be yellow. I mean, I was reading it out loud to Chris when I'd say, "Wait a second, I have to read this part. Wait a second, I have to read this part." So for those of you that haven't read it, give yourself the Christmas present of You're a Badass. And for some people, it wasn't for me, but for some people, they consider the language a little rough. Just get through it anyway.
You badass.
And what did you expect from a book that's titled Badass, right? So Lisa, do you have anything that you'd like to add in terms of your word?
Sure. So I was going to use your word, Nikki. I don't know if you remember, we talked about that when we were in Santa Barbara together last January. It was January. But the word that really became the theme of my year, and it wasn't an intentional word, but it became very clear to me by, I think, shortly after the women's event in Vegas, the Eric Worre women's event, was growth. And sure, you can look at that from a business perspective, but I really needed to work on my own self-development. And I spent most of the summer pretty intensely doing that. And it transformed into so many different parts of my life, and yes, my business included. And so it was, and it's a word that I think, and all these words build on each other. They're words that we can carry into the future with us. They're not just words that we leave behind, obviously. So that was my word for last year. And now sort of silly intentionally, maybe this will change as well, because I'm, continuing to think about what I want for next year. Well, I know I want for next year. But the word that I wrote down last week when I was asked to do this at a women's event was fabulous. Fabulous. And it doesn't really sound like a very serious word. It's, it's kind of out there. It's kind of silly. And the reason I chose it is because in 2017, yes, I will be 50. So I thought everything in my life is going to be frickin' fabulous.
I love it. I think it should actually have two words for you, and it should be frickin' fabulous. It's both words together.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound what's frivolous? It sounds like a great word to have a fabulous partner in life, to have a fabulous relationship, to have a fabulous business, to be a fabulous mentor, to be a fabulous learner.
To have a fabulous attitude.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great word. I love it. So that's a great one. Maybe I wish these typing in of things, we could keep it. Maybe I'll do a screenshot or something and I'll do a copy paste of all the words, guys. That would be fun. All right. So is anybody else just dying to share their word? Because then we're going to move on. Patty raised her hand. So Patty, you're going to be the last one.
Okay, this probably wouldn't have been a word I would have chosen, but when you asked, it just came to my head, and it's powerful. And so when you were asking the questions, one, coming back from where I just got, I feel powerful. I feel stronger than I've been in a long time. And so my workouts are powerful. My mindset is more powerful. I'd like to be powerful when I walk in the room, that I'm impacting people's life in a powerful way and changing people's lives in a powerful way. And that I'm attracting powerful team members. And so once I started thinking about it, I felt like it was a pretty good word.
Yeah, it's a great word, powerful. It's a great word. So I am excited for all of you. I would love to challenge each and every one of you to come up with, putting your resolution and your list together is great, but sometimes having a theme can be the umbrella that creates everything that comes underneath that. So I just want you to consider that. And now, Melissa, who really inspired this entire call in my moment of, I am going to turn this over to you to talk a little bit about the idea of coming up with a theme for our teams and what you've come up with, and how does that play and what does that look like?
Sure. Okay. So this was so exciting and so spontaneous earlier today, and I wanted to just give a little bit of the background of how that even happened, because it plays right into what we're talking about. But I was on a three-way call, a coaching call with two of the girls on our team, and it was this common thread. This word kept popping up on each of our homes. We were all looking at the word at the same exact time, and that word was joy. And we were laughing because it was literally, Nikki stole the words right out of my mouth when we said it. But and then my Christmas cards arrived finally, and I looked down and it says joy on the Christmas card. I forgot completely. So it was really hilarious how that one theme really started to present itself, So we kind of adopted it as a little trifecta group. But for the team, I had started thinking about this a couple days ago, and I felt like to create a movement with a theme behind it, to start up and open up a year and really pour into it with this idea would be really something special collaboratively. And so what came to mind as I was going to sleep last night was this theme of, think bigger. And it's two words, but think bigger and really challenging ourselves to take that extra step to open up, our minds a little bit more, to stretch the comfort zone on each little opportunity that we're able to get to. Because I'm finding that with each benchmark and wherever we are as a team and in our personal growth, we tend to find a comfort spot where we feel really good, and we tend to operate in that space. And so really challenging ourselves to always stay just a little bit uncomfortable. So one of the, it was like kind of a catchphrase more. And I said to these gals, I said, really what I want to think about instilling into our language as leaders on the team is just when we're talking with people is to ask them, okay, so great, we've got that established. Now, if we were to think bigger about this, what would that look like? And really getting people to just take that next step. And some of that language, Nikki, comes from you. I know a lot of times you tell me in our coaching sessions, I loved when you said to me, if you ask people, okay, I know you don't know the answer, but if you did know the answer, what would it be? Right? So it's the same concept of just like, relaxing enough to then take the step, right? Because a lot of times it's that fear or that, it's just the confidence, the lack of confidence that's holding us back when we really do know, and it really is inside of us. And if we did just take that more step, or if we did challenge ourselves to get that one extra customer each month, or go out and get one, talk to one person that's on our chicken list, or something, but really apply it there. So I thought it would be pretty fun as a team to kind of have that as an umbrella and think in different ways of how can we think bigger as a team, right? What are the things that we can manifest? And in terms of, our applications of events and everything else. And so that was just kind of where that all came up with. But that word, my word for last year, I wanted to just throw this in there, was really, if I looked back and had to put a label on it, I would say stretch was definitely the word. And I'm so grateful to my team for stretching me. It was, it's not always pretty when you're in that space of things, but, it's a challenge. I mean, it's like every muscle, that you need to strengthen needs to be stretched, and it actually breaks the tissues in the process, and then they have to rebuild and get stronger and move further. And so there were a lot of things this year that stretched me emotionally, personally, professionally, all of it. And at times it came like a huge tidal wave, and at other times it was, just recouping from all the pieces. But I am so grateful for where we are and for where we're headed. And I really couldn't be just more proud of everything that we've done. So thank you, team.
Thank you for the great segue, because first of all, I want to add one thing quickly about the getting bigger, thinking bigger. And it's a theme that when Chris and I have led ropes courses, and people have to really stretch themselves and really move forward a little bit, what we ask of them, especially if it's something to do with heights, and they say they go up X amount of feet and they get stuck, we never ask them to go to the top. We ask them if they can just take one more step. Mm-hmm. And when they've taken that one more step and they feel okay, we ask them again, can you take one more step? And sometimes they can, and sometimes they can't. And either way, it's okay, because that last step they took was the one step beyond what they thought they could do. So that's what you're asking of your team. Can you just take that one more step? And I think that's really a fabulous theme. You might have to do it. I love it. And so with that, and then you talked about your gratitude of your team stretching you and for your life the way it is, I'd really like to open it up. Alita, I know you're on here somewhere. I'm going to find you. And I hope it's okay. There you are. If I can ask you to unmute yourself. And we had a great conversation just a little bit while ago about not only the theme, but gratitude. And I would love the team to hear from you. And I'm going to spotlight you. Is that okay if I make you big?
I know I look pretty raunchy right now.
Well, I can leave you small if you're more comfortable. But, she just said think bigger. So I was going for it.
Okay. Yeah, whatever. That's fine.
Great. So let's just hear from you about your own gratitude and also maybe a theme. I'd love to hear that from you. You said some great things to me tonight.
Yeah, I think when I start thinking of the theme idea, I'm thinking of the fact that I just really think that serenity, something about accept the things that I can change and accept the things I can't change, and the wisdom to know the difference, and how that translates into our businesses. I think some of us who have big hearts, because most of the people in our Juice Plus culture have massive hearts. We get so bogged down and so let down by family, friends who just don't want to have anything to do with either the product, the business, or whatever. And if we can quickly accept the things we cannot change and the wisdom to who next to go to, then I think that we would, our business will seem a lot more fluid and easier to manage. So that kind of hit me at first, because I think I've had probably 3 or 4 coaching calls today with people that were in a way discouraged because they were so heartbroken that somebody in their family wasn't getting on the product, or somebody is resistant against the business. And this all comes back to just the acceptance of what it is. As far as being grateful, my gosh, I'm grateful that my team trusts me enough to share confidences with me when they're struggling with their life, whatever it may be. We can problem solve together, and I can pull them out of that corner. And if they feel like they've worked themselves in a corner, I'm there for encouragement and support and and be able to and feel that they trust me enough that they can come to me for that, and with no judgment or anything, and be able to offer maybe a possible solution. So I'm really grateful for that. I just only wish my own children would.
Oh, would it be, right? Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I was mentioning to you today how, it always looks perfect on the Christmas specials. And I love watching. It's the only time I even watch any television is during this time of the year. And those marriages are so perfect. And those husbands are so perfect. And those families are so perfect. We all know that life is not perfect. And it's messy business sometimes. Getting involved in the trenches and going to booths when you hate booths and being able to work in the trenches. And if we're not willing to really take a hard look at ourselves and get out of our comfort zone and work in the trenches and do the messy work, just do the messy work where you have to throw a pizza on a table when you don't feel like having your kids eat pizza or whatever, then I think that, there's always that hope that you can get to the top of the company if you can just focus on those small activities that end up being very big. Really, in my eyes, it's the small activities are the ones that are the hardest really to go through.
Yeah.
So I just want to I'm really grateful for my team trusting me and our extended family, the HEAT team and the other HEAT team members that have trusted me also to make that phone call and to reach out and say, you know what, I want a different perspective. I'd like to have a different slant on that. It's always super cool to help another team member also. So I'm grateful for that.
That's great, Alita. I'm grateful for you. So anyway, it's almost 6:30, and we have, just to let you know, we have one more call this year, and that's December 20th with Reagan Dean, who's a powerhouse. Alita is going to be our facilitator that night. Lenora, I see you're on the call. Maybe we could have you. We've been talking about theme words. I don't know when you came on, but we're ending it with what we're grateful for. And maybe you can just wrap this call up. I'm putting it on you in 1 minute, just your favorite thing to wing it. But wrap it up for the year for us in terms of our HEAT team and gratitude. And like I said, next week we've got a call. And then I'm not telling you who our incredible 1,000+ club speaker is on January 3rd. But there is one, and it's all done, and I'm really excited, and I will be announcing it soon. Just there's the intrigue. Lenora?
So 1,000+, I guess it's not Jay Martin. We were talking about that too. So I guess what I'm grateful for is the opportunity to mentor. And I have to say, I don't know how many guys are on the phone. Chris, I love you. But mostly I get to mentor women who have the desire to make up the rules for their life and not have to buy into ones that they had no part in setting up. And it just excites me to be passing the baton to the next generation. When I started this business, I was 38 years old. My kids were 8, 11, and 13. And now I have a whole crew of young moms that have that same desire to be present in their families' lives. And that's probably the thing that I'm most grateful for, is that my work gets to be helping those women live out the lives that they really desire to live. And that's my favorite part of doing this business.
Awesome.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I was muted out because there was noise going on in the background here. I just wanted to thank you so much for closing this call tonight, being on the call. I love each and every one of you. Chris and I are so grateful. We could not possibly in a million years have the life that we have without each and every one of you in it. And I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. It's the total connection and everybody together. So once again, I want to thank all of you. There's one more call on December 20th. Then we're going to take off till January 3rd. Put it in your calendar. I'm not giving it up yet who it is. But like I said, they're a 1,000+ club person, and it's going to be an awesome call. So with that, I would just have everybody take their phone off of mute. And you know what? How about just shouting out the word you think is going to be your word for next year. So I'm going to wait to see everybody. Just unmute your thing, which is on the bottom left-hand corner. Go ahead and hit unmute and yell out your word on the count of 3. Is everybody ready? I'm just see you guys unmuted. Listen, you're not unmuted yet. Danielle, I'm waiting. All right, 1, 2, 3. Say your word.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Love every one of you. Have a great holiday season. A happy new year. We will see you next week again. And can't think of anything else in the moment. Love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you too, Nikki.
Love you.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.